All right, here we go. Let's take the fellowship I made for one more spin, this time against the Treachery of Rhudaur. We are going to do a lot. We're going to add the Great Hall as the active location. We're going to set Thurindir aside. We're going to have some side quests in play. We're going to have an ancient causeway in the staging area, and we're going to gain control of Amarthiel. Let's take a look at the Great Hall. 4 threat, 8 progress. Forced. When Great Hall is explored, each player discards the top 5 cards of the encounter deck and chooses an undead enemy from the discarded cards and adds it to the staging area. Speaking of the staging area, in it we have the Ancient Causeway. It is 3 threat, 2 progress, and forced. When it's explored, each player raises their threat by 2. So it doesn't have to be the active location. If it's explored by Northern Trackers or something, it is going to raise your threat. Okay, here are the 3 side quests. I'll talk about those in a moment. 1B, time 5, forced. After the last time counter is removed from this stage, remove each Treachery of Rhudaur side quests from the game and immediately advance to stage 2. During the quest phase, Secrets of Rhudaur cannot be chosen as the current quest. If we complete all 3 side quests, we immediately advance to stage 2. Okay, so there are my 5 tokens representing the 5 time counters. One gets removed at the end of the round, every round. We also have Amarthiel as an objective ally. So you can't use his hero version when you play this quest. He's a 1/3/3/3 Dunedain Ranger Warrior. Response: after an enemy engages a player, give control of Amarthiel to that player. If Amarthiel leaves play, the players lose the game. So he doesn't bounce around with the first player. It's if after you engage an enemy. And also, he doesn't say he's immune to player card effects. So you can actually heal him and stuff. So he's an amazing Dunedain ally. So I have my fellowship that I built that I'm pretty sure people are familiar with the heroes. The big change I made is I added Barivor to get some card draw on the Dunedain side, and then I got rid of Lord Glorfindel and replaced him with Iristor. So he draws you an extra 3 cards at the beginning of the round, and then at the end of the round you have to discard all the cards from your hand. 32 and 28 are my starting threats. Okay, how does this quest work? Well, in the staging area, there are 3 side quests, and you have to pick one of them to be the quest you quest against, or a player side quest that you put in play. These side quests each have a condition on them. Quiet the Spirits gets 2 progress placed on it every time you defeat an enemy, but while that quest is the current quest you are questing against, any enemies that enter play will engage the player at the highest threat, and then enemies that engaged you this way will still contribute their threat to the total threat in the staging area until the end of the phase. Sift through the debris gives every location in the staging area plus 1 threat. Forced. After a location is explored, place 2 progress on Sift through the debris, and it's 18 progress. And then Decipher the Ancient Text gives all of your allies -2 willpower. That's terrible. But you can put progress on it by spending resources, 3 per round. So you have ways of clearing these without actually questing against them, but of course, depending on which one you pick, there's a negative effect going on. So usually what I do is I pick the enemy one or the location one based on what's currently happening with the board states and what I can handle. Usually it's the location one. If I don't have a location in staging, I will pick the Sift through the debris and just hope I only reveal 1 location, so its negative effect isn't that bad while I'm questing against it. All right, I'm all shuffled up. Let's see what I get in my opening hands. On the Dunedain side, I want cards that are going to help me defend. I would love to see the Heir of Elendil. And then on the Elf side, I really just want to start getting some cheap allies in. And I wouldn't mind having a Test of Will and a Silver Harp. And of course, Elven Jewelers in my opening hand here. All right, let's see. Sneak Attack, okay. Ranger Provisions, there's some Resource Excel. The Son of Arnor. All right, the East Road Ranger. That's not bad because I'm always going to be against a side quest. And I also drew a side quest and a Ranger Summons. You know, I didn't get any of the attachments I was really hoping for. That's not really that great. I'm probably going to mulligan that away. I think I can get a better hand. It's not terrible. Like I always say, you put all these cards in the deck, so they should all be cards you want to see. I just don't really know if I want any of those at the moment. All right, condition removal, action advantage, location management, action advantage, another East Road Ranger, and looks like stand and fight. Yeah, you know, nothing really great here either. I think I'm mulliganing away both of these. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's take a mulligan for both of these. I'd like to see one of my key attachments in the Dunedain deck, either Steward of Gondor or the Heir of Elendil. And I also would have liked a Ranger of Cardolan, Feint, just something I can sneak in easy in the combat phase. Also the Dunedain, that is the Warden of Arnor. That's the one that helps me defend. That would be great to see in my opening hand. And the cards I got were pretty generic. I mean, they're all cards I want to see, but nothing I was too excited to see. So let's see what I got here after doing my shuffle. Okay, well, there's Steward, so that's good. There's a Forest Snare. All right. Gather Info. That's really good. A Sarnford Sentry. Holy cow. Sneak Attack and Calabrian Stone. There we go. Now that's a hand to be excited about. Lots of my attachments that are really fun. Nice willpower boost with Calabrian Stone. But I'm really glad to see Gather Information because we're going to quest against that. And each deck is going to find a key card. Now, what I'm hoping to see over here is cards that let me use all the cards I'm getting on turn 1. I get 10 cards on turn 1, so Protector of Lorien, Elven Jeweler, just something, Steed of Imladris, something that is going to let me spend these cards instead of just discarding them at the end. I mean, no matter what it is, I have to keep it. But let's see if we could do better than what I had before. Okay, there's a Weaver, Long Defeat. Well, that's good. Unexpected Courage. There's a Jeweler. Great. The Hammersmith. And an expensive Galdor. All right. Well, that's what it is. It is what it is. It's pretty good. I'm not complaining about it. Okay, on the Dunedain side, it's really hard to put stuff in on turn 1. Everything costs at least 2, except for the Long Defeat. That's a good draw. Okay, and then I get 3 cards plus 1. We get the Northern Tracker, the East Road Ranger. Ooh, another side quest, double back, and a Test of Will. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad, really. No Elven Light, but that's okay. I have that Gather Information on the other side of the table. Okay, over here, let's put Gather Information into the staging area. It's neutral and free for progress, and when it's explored, we each get to search our decks for a card we want and add it to our hands. I could add the Long Defeat to it, but I think I'd rather save up my lore resources. I'm in no big hurry to play that right now. Then on the elf side, let's put double back into the staging area. So when that's explored, you get to drop your threat by 5. Okay, now we get to have a lot of fun. I have a lot of cards. I can discard a card to Arwen to gain a resource on Aristor or Arwen. I think what I'm going to do is spend Aristor's resource, and I'm going to attach the Long Defeat I have in the elf hand to Gather Info. So now when I explore Gather Info, we each get to draw 2 more cards. I'm going to discard the Northern Tracker to Arwen's ability, and I'm going to give the resource to herself. So now I have 3 spirit resources. I am going to put the Elven Jeweler into play as an action by discarding 2 cards from my hand. So these are the 2 cards I'm going to discard. Now the Elven Jeweler's in play. You can do that in any phase. Her ability is just an action, not a planning action or anything. Okay, I still have 3 resources, so Unexpected Courage. And that goes on Barivor. I love getting Unexpected Courage on Barivor right away. I should be able to use her ability and one of her stats. And if push comes to shove, I might have to use 2 of her stats. But it's nice for her to have an extra action. And then I can keep a spirit resource for that Test of Will that I have in my hand. That's not bad. I used most of the cards, and I'm still planning on using one of them if I have to. Okay, let's go into the quest phase. We are going to quest against Gather Information. So I'm going to send Halbrad and Barivor, and then Ready Barivor for Unexpected Courage, Eowyn and Arwen. That is a total of 11. I'm up against 3, and the active location is 8 progress. So I really don't think there's any chance of me making a total of 12 progress. You know what? I can send Aristor as well. I have an Elven Jeweler on this side, so let's make it 13. I'm going to really try to get through that active location so I can travel. Okay, we start out with the Haunting Fog. It's a sorcery treachery. When revealed, each player must exhaust a character he controls. Attach Haunting Fog to the current quest. Counts as a condition attachment with the text. The attached quest gets +6 quest points. We're going to test a will that. I want to be able to clear Gather Information at some point here. And making it 10 quest points instead of 4 is a real pain. Okay, and then we get, wow, this is great, Accursed Dead. Isn't that great? Accursed Dead. But no, it's great because When revealed, put each copy of Cursed Dead in the discard pile into play into the staging area, and there is none. And it's just a pretty wimpy enemy. I mean, it attacks for 3, but it's good to have those enemies engaged with you. You actually don't want to kill them, so bringing a Dunedain deck up against this quest is actually great. All right, speaking of great, we also placed 1 progress on Gather Info and cleared this active location, which is really good. I could discard 2 cards, 1 from each player, to boost my willpower. I'm going to discard 1 card over on the elf side because I'm losing the card anyway. And on the Dunedain side, I'm good. So we're 2 away. Okay, so this thing's explored. It's got victory points. And then each player needs to discard the top 5 cards. And you look at the undead enemies discarded this way. And because we explored a location, we also get to put 2 progress on sift through the debris because after a location is explored. So all right, so we put 2 on there. And now let's do the effect on the location from exploring it. So the Dunedain deck is going to discard the top 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. I'm looking for no undead. Oh, well, there's one. And okay, the Dead Lord's pretty terrible. So we're going to add the Cursed Dead to the staging area. These get discarded. I was actually pretty glad to see some of those cards go away. And then on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. No, wow. Okay, that was extremely lucky. No undead enemies. Okay, I'll take it. Okay, so let's travel here. Remember this one, when we explore it, we got to raise our threat. And then this other Cursed Dead enemy is going to engage the Dunedain deck. So now I have 2 enemies engaged with me. I'm going to try to keep these 2 enemies engaged with me for the rest of the game. I have 3 heroes ready, so I should be able to handle combat. Marty defends 3 against 3. If the defending player does not control at least 1 clue, the attacking enemy makes an additional attack. Okay, well, I do not control a clue, so we're making an additional attack. That's a bummer. Alrighty, Aragorn is going to defend 2 against 3. Another shadow. Attacking enemy gets +1, +2 instead if there is a copy of the defending character in your discard pile. Alright, so Aragorn just took some damage. And now I unfortunately have to defend with Barivor. I was hoping to use her ability. I wasn't counting on 3 attacks in the same round. And we get no shadow. Okay, that's nice. She's going to take 1 damage. We're not going to be able to attack back, and we go into the end of the round, so we are going to remove a time counter. Everybody's threat goes up. Everybody readies in the Aristor deck discards the cards in their hand, and we'll be drawing 4 cards at the start of the round. All right, let's see what we get. 4 cards incoming. We get Will of the West, so I can shuffle in my discard pile. Oh, man, the Miner of the Iron Hills. Lindir, which draws me some cards, and another Test of Will. If I'd known I was drawing a miner, I wouldn't have minded that treachery so much, although exhausting a character actually could have screwed me. But anyway, Faramir on the Dunedain side, that's actually pretty good in a quest where you're trying to do some big willpower pushes. All right, Will of the West, shuffle in my discard pile. I'm just going to discard it. Then if I draw a Dwarven Tomb or something, I can always replay it. Okay, so I discarded it. To Arwen, I'm going to put that resource on Aristor, and I'm still just going to play this Miner of the Iron Hills, even though there's no condition attachment to remove. It's just good to have an extra body on the table. Keeping a resource for a Test of Will. If I had had a Steed or Protector of Lorien, I might have played Lindir and drew some cards. Okay, Steward of Gondor. I think once again I'm going to put it on Halbrad. So 2 leadership resources, and I get them right back. And then with his 2 leadership resources, I could put in Celebrian Stone. I'd also like to get the Sarnford Sentry in. I really want to clear Gather Information, and then I can get the Heir of Elendil. So let's make sure I clear it. Celebrian Stone is going to go on Halbrad. And so now he's going to quest for 4 without exhausting. I think that's better than putting it on Aragorn and getting the Spirit resource icon. I don't care about that. I also wouldn't mind getting a Forest Snare into play and snaring one of these undead enemies. Explain to me how that would work. But it's a ghost trap, I guess. Okay, we're going against Gather Information again. So if I send the Jeweler, Arwen, and Eowyn, and Aristor, that's 10. Halbrad is 14. Okay, and I'm up against 0, and we get, oh man, the Haunting Fog again. I wish this was my second card so I knew what I was going to be up against and if I needed the characters ready. I think we just got to cancel this one too. Imagine if I hadn't been able to cancel either. Gather info would now be 16 progress needed. Okay, Forbidden Descent, 2 threat, 6 progress. While it's in the staging area, the first 2 progress that would be placed on the quest each round is placed on Forbidden Descent instead. And then if it leaves play from the staging area, we got to raise our threats by 2. Alrighty, okay, so I'm going to place 2 progress on the active. 2 progress will go on Forbidden Descent, and there's still enough left over to clear Gather Info. Okay, because I cleared because I cleared a location, I get to place 2 progress on Sift Through the Debris. And now we're going to trigger all the stuff on Gather Info. So we're going to get to look for a card we want, and then we're going to get to draw 2 cards. The card I want over here is the Heir of Lindial. There it is. Oh, wow. 2 of the copies were way down at the bottom. Okay, we'll give the deck a good shuffle. And then the card I'm going to want on the elf side is Elven Light, because it's a card you play from the discard pile anyway. There it is. Okay, and now we're all shuffled up, and we get to either heal damage or draw 2 cards. Well, I wish I had damage to heal on the elf side, but I don't, so I'm going to have to draw 2 cards. And the cards I get are a Silver Harp and Stand and Fight. Dang, those are 2 good cards I would much rather have drawn at the beginning of the round. And then, oh, for goodness sakes, I draw the Heir of Lindial. Okay, that that wasn't great. I wish that could have went a different way. All right, let's travel to the Forbidden Descent. And then we have 2 enemies attacking us, each for 3. And then I decide to do some trickery. So here is something you can do. I am going to use Eowyn's ability, which you can use in any phase. I haven't used it. I'm going to discard the Silver Harp that I really want to get into play. I'm going to discard it to give her +1 willpower. Then I'm going to spend my last resource to play Stand and Fight. And I'm going to Stand and Fight the Weaver. When the Weaver enters play, she shuffles in the top card of your discard pile. The top card of my discard pile is that harp, so now it's going to go back into my deck where hopefully I can draw it again. This works because Stand and Fight does not go into your discard pile until you've completely resolved it, and that includes resolving any abilities on the ally that you put into play. So that's why the top card of my discard pile was the harp, not Stand and Fight. Now the harp's in my deck, so I can draw it again. So that's a good use of some cards, a nice little trick that's kind of an advanced play, but it's a good one, and you can do it with this card pool. All right, Amarthiel defending for 3 against 3. Attacking enemy gets +1 if it destroys a character. It does not, so a lot of red over on the Dunedain side. Another attack of 3 coming. I think Halbrad's going to jump in front of this one. And a shadow again. If it destroys a character, raise your threat. Okay. No one got destroyed, but I am taking a lot of damage, so I would like to get some healing in. I wish I had an Honor Guard in play. And I'm going to leave both these guys engaged with me. I'm going to draw 2 cards of Barivore, another stone, and a Fornos Bowman. Yeah, I really want one of my Defendi Dunedain. That's who I'm looking for. All right, let's go into the next round. All right, I forgot to give myself resources. I remember in a moment. We get Gleowine over on the Dunedain side. We get Protector of Lorien. There's a good card. We also get some healing. The Daughter of the Nimmerdell. Another Protector of Lorien. All lore cards so far. And then another Stand and Fight. That's actually pretty good. Okay, let's deal out resources. And the first player is the Dunedain deck. Okay, time to start having some fun with the Dunedain deck. Like I said in the deck building video, it takes a couple rounds to get ready. Heir of Lindial, planning action, exhaust it, reduce the cost of the next Dunedain ally you put into play by the number of enemies you're engaged with. So I'm going to put that on Aragorn. The ally I'm going to put into play is the Sarnford Sentry. She's only going to cost 1. And then I get to draw 2 cards when she enters play. I get the Son of Arnor and another Gleowine. Let's not forget to pay for that, Chad. There you go. I'm also going to spend 3 resources to put in this Fornos Bowman. He gets +1 attack for every enemy you're engaged with. I like it because he's ranged. He can help kill an enemy on the elf side if one goes over there. And I don't need a ton of enemies engaged with me. 2 is just about perfect. It'd be nice to snare one of these guys. I want to get the Daughter of the Nimberdell into play, but unfortunately I will only be able to get 2 lore resources this round if I give the resource to Aristor. But here's what I can do. I can discard her, give a 3rd spirit resource to Arwen, and then spend all 3 spirit resources on Stand and Fight to pull the Daughter of the Nimberdell into play. So that worked out really well. I can exhaust her and start healing 2 damage on characters, so Aragorn's all healed up. And then with my remaining lore resource, let's put Protector of Lorien on Arwen so I can discard cards to boost her willpower or defense. Okay, let's go into the quest phase. Alright, we're going to go again, sift through the debris, so any locations that get revealed have +1 threat. If we send Arwen, Eowyn, Aristor, the Jeweler, the Weaver. We also send the Sarnford Sentry, Halbrand for 4. Barivor. We are going to be sending a grand total of 19 against 0. We have to get through a 4 progress location. We get the Restless Evil. Each undead enemy gets +1 to their stats until the end of the round. If there's no undead enemies in play, it gains Surge. Okay, I'm just going to put that right on top of my 2 enemies so I don't forget. And then, okay, the Ghostly Ruins, a 4/4. And then it talks about the encounter deck running out of cards. To travel there, we return the topmost undead enemy in the discard pile to the staging area. Okay, cool. So that's really a 5 threat location. 4 progress needs to go on the active, so that's going to eat up our willpower to 9, leaving a difference of 10, which puts a total of 16 on sift through the debris because clearing that active also added 2 progress. So now we need to add 2 more progress to it and we will clear it. And you want to clear these if you can because there are card effects that remove progress. So I need to muster up 2 more willpower. I can discard a card on the elf side, so there that goes. And then I can discard a card on the Dunedain side. I don't need 2 Celebrian Stones. They're unique. And there we go. I have made the 18 total progress needed to clear sift through the debris. And now we get to flip it over. On the other side, we have the Heirloom of Iarkion. Sure, it's a clue. Action, you can exhaust a Marthiel or a hero to claim this and attach it to that character. That character gets +1 willpower. Well, that's awesome. Okay, so you want to control at least 1 clue going into the next stage. Let's exhaust Halbrand and grab that, so he'll be questing for 5 without exhausting. Seems pretty good. And then, if I want to travel to that location, I have to grab the topmost undead enemy. It's a Deadlord, and when he engages you, he grabs an undead enemy, which unfortunately would not be that. It would be that. So I don't think I want to travel there because I'd have to engage that Deadlord, and all the enemies are boosted. So let's not travel. Okay, so each of these guys are attacking for 4. That's not great. Aragorn will defend the first one, no shadow, so he will take 2 damage. And then this next one, let's see, how do I want to handle this? I don't have a feint, but I do have a sneak attack. And giving the options of who to sneak in, I mean, it could be Gleowine, because I have 2 copies, or it could be the Son of Arnor. I think I'll just do the Son of Arnor. Probably should have done Gleowine since I had 2 copies, but that's okay. And then, ooh, there is a shadow on this one. If the attacking player does not control a clue, it's considered undefended. Well, that would have ended my game. That would have killed somebody. Okay, so glad I didn't do it undefended. Okay, so I lost the Son of Arnor. I'm still engaged with 2 enemies. I'm going to have 3 lore resources next round, so I will be able to snare one of them. And I really don't want to put them in the discard pile because they could come roaring back. So I think I'll just have Barivor draw me 2 cards. Hey, the Son of Arnor is back, and more healing. That's not bad either. Okay, let's go into the next round. I keep forgetting to deal out resources before I draw cards. Ooh, Honor Guard. I could have used one of those in play already. All right, a Steed of Imladris. That helps you place progress on locations. Hammersmith is going to pull back attachment. Speaking of attachments, Silverharp, finally. And then another Steed of Imladris. Okay, I'm going to deal out my resources, and then I do some thinking because I knew I had forgotten to move the first player token at one point. So actually the Elves deck. is supposed to be the first player. All last turn, it was a Dunedain deck. It never mattered, but the elf deck is the current first player. So it matters for planning sometimes. Okay, I want to play a Silver Harp because after a card is discarded, you can exhaust the Silver Harp and pull that card back. Now, especially that I'm getting cards that I want to discard to do stuff. So let's discard the Steed of Maladris, and I am going to put that resource on Aristor and immediately spend it to put in the Hammersmith. The Hammersmith returns the topmost attachment. That is going to be a steed, so now I have 2 steeds. Okay, over on the Dunedain side, let's collect 2 more leadership resources and Forest Snare. So we're going to trap one of these undead enemies, so that will no longer be attacking us, and we will always have an enemy engaged with us, and it doesn't go into the discard pile, which is really good. You don't want those cursed dead going in the discard pile. I will reduce the cost of the Son of Arnor by 2, and so when he enters play, I could grab an enemy. Don't really need to, just another body on the table, so he's going to come in for 1. Nothing wrong with that. And then I'm going to play a Ranger Summons. So it's a planning action. You remove it from the game, and then you're going to shuffle one of these set-aside Rangers of the North into the encounter deck. And it's a planning action. So let's shuffle that in. The encounter deck's pretty thin, so the odds are I'm either going to see it revealed, or if it's a shadow card, well, it's just a shadow that has no effect. But you really want to reveal it. That is ideal. Okay, next round I'll get an Honor Guard into play. Not bad. All right. Let's quest against Quiet the Spirits, and hopefully I can clear it. And then I'll have one more round here on that first quest stage where I can try to drop my threat by 5 by questing against Double Back. So we're going to send the Weaver, the Jeweler, Arwen, Eowyn, Aristor. See, this is why it's so much fun having a questing deck. I can get most of my willpower and still have tons of characters ready for combat. Halberd's questing for 5 without exhausting. Barivord for 2. Sarnford Sentry for 2. Lots of willpower. So we're questing for 20. We're up against 4. Cursed Dead. Okay. I think there's another copy in the discard pile. And since we're going against Quiet the Spirits, that enemy immediately gauges the player with the highest threat. Okay, so I think there's one more. And I think there's a total of 5 in the quest deck. So that gets revealed, and that will also engage me. So each of them are contributing threat. And then when revealed, raise each player's threat by the threat of the active location. Well, that does nothing. Okay, sounds good. Okay, when it's all said and done, we have made a total of 14 out of the 16 needed. So I need to discard 2 cards. I can discard them to Protector of Lorien. I'm going to have the Silver Harp yank 1 of these steeds back. So there we go. I made 16 progress. Quiet the Spirits is defeated. On the other side, we have Decanar's Brand. It's a clue. We exhaust a Marthiel or a hero to claim this. Attach it to that person exhausted. That person we exhausted gets +1 attack. Okay, +1 attack. That's good. I just got to make sure I can actually afford to exhaust somebody right now. I think I can afford Barivord to be exhausted, so she will grab this. So now she has +1 attack. She's going to be attacking for 3. All right, the Cursed Dead up in staging. I actually made a mistake here. So it was any enemy that entered play while Quiet the Spirits was the active quest should have engaged the player of the highest threat. And I thought it was only enemies that were revealed. So the Cursed Dead should already be engaged with me. Now if I travel, the White of Rhudaur will be added to the staging area. I don't think I can handle that. So I am not going to travel again. And then, yeah, this is a mistake. It should not be going to the elf player. It should have been engaged with the Dunedain player. Okay, let's deal out the shadows. Now, something I'm in the habit of doing, but I really shouldn't, is shadow cards should stick around till the end of the combat phase. I just get rid of them to make my board state look better, but I should just keep them here. All right, Miner of the Iron Hills defending. If this attack destroys a character, raise your threat by that character's willpower. No willpower on the Miner of the Iron Hills, so that did nothing. I probably would have defended with a Marthiel, which would have been fine. And then the Forest Snared enemy still gets a shadow, but you don't have to flip it. You just leave it there. All right, let's defend with Aragorn, 3 against 2. For each point of damage dealt by this attack, remove 1 progress from each quest in play. Boy, that one sucks. Like, if you chump with like a Snowborn Scout against an enemy attacking for 5, I mean, that's a lot of progress you got to remove. All right, and then Halbrad will defend here. He's defending for 2. And no shadow. Glad to see that one go away. Okay, so like I said, I probably would have I would have defended with a Marthiel against that one attack. I just want to kill at least one of these guys. If I had played it correctly, my Fornos Bowman would have been able to kill 1, and then I would have had 3 engaged with the Dunedain player going into the next round. Okay, at the end of combat, we're going to discard that shadow card. The Bowman sniped the Cursed Dead that was over on the other side of the table. Sorry for the mistakes. Ooh, there was a shadow. Okay, it was based on how many clues you had. And we're going to go into the next round with 1 more time counter remaining. I will use the Silver Harp to keep the card that I have in hand from Aristor, and we draw Gandalf. Okay, well, that's pretty good. And then over here, we're getting 4 new cards. Love playing Aristor. So much fun. Basically a mulligan every turn. Test a Will, another Steed. There's an Elven Light, and Northern Tracker. I haven't really been playing my Elven Lights. I've just been able to spend my resources. Okay, I am going to put the Long Defeat on double back, and then I'm going to spend 2 tactics resources to put the Honor Guard into play so he can block some damage. That's excellent. Steward of Gondor is going to gain me a couple more resources. I guess I could use Barivor and draw 2 cards to see if I could do something, because I don't even have a Dunedain to put into play. But I really don't need to. I'm fine. I mean, my board state looks pretty good at this point. So let's go over to the elf side, and what can I do over here? Northern Tracker would be nice, but I really like having this Test of Will. I think I'll just discard Elven Light, give the resource to Arwen, so I have 3 spirit resources. And let's put another Steed of Imladris into play. That lets you discard a card to place 2 progress on the active location. I still have a Test of Will. All right, let's go questing against Doubleback, and hopefully we can drop our threats by 5. All right, sending Halbrad, the Sentry, and a lot of the characters over on the elf side. I'm going to be sending a total of 17, and we're currently up against 4. Against Doubleback, I need to make 4 progress. Okay, here we go again. A tragic disappearance that does nothing, and we get, hey, there he is. All right, he's going to surge. He's a 2/2/2/3, and then I get to choose which player takes control of him. Then I can place 2 progress on a location or deal 2 damage to an enemy. Well, I don't want to kill any of these Cursed Dead because I could reveal one that would just make me grab it right back. So let's place 2 progress on that location and staging, and then I gave it to the elf player, and it's going to surge into a Dark Covenant sorcery. When revealed, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. The first player must either remove X progress from among quests in play, or assign X damage among characters he controls. X is the total threat of the cards. Okay, top 3 cards getting discarded. 2 and 2 and 0. Would have kind of stunk to have lost my Ranger that way, to be honest. All right, and then another mistake. So I put it on the non-first player characters. I had plenty of hit points over on the first player side. I leave mistakes like that in these videos, so hopefully you, the viewer, can learn from them. Just remember, when it says the first player needs to do stuff to himself, you got to be paying attention to that. Easy mistake to make, and I'm glad I can show it off if anybody learns from that. All right, we did clear that side quest, so everyone's threat dropped by 5. And now the Long Defeat. So I can either heal people up or I can draw cards. So that's why I dealt it to the elf player, because I wanted just to heal the damage. So I guess I should have drawn cards on that side, and then I healed damage over on the Dunedain side as well. Can I travel to this location now? What will be the top undead? When he engages a player, remove 2 progress from quests. See? That's a good one. I will travel there. So, I will get that enemy. So we're going to travel to that location, and then we added this white up in staging that isn't really terrible because I have no progress to remove. Let's engage him. I'm going to have the elf player engage him because I do have that nice ranger over there to defend now. All right, shadows up. If you watched my first video where I used this deck, this is going much differently. I have none of the defensive Dunedain. I have none of the defensive options like Ranger of Cardolan and Feint. Very different. Okay. This is the one that said if there's no clue controlled by the player, it makes an additional attack. Okay, Aragorn's going to take 1 damage. And then over here, you know what? This guy's attacking for 4. I'd rather not lose that Ranger of the North because he could easily die. So let's just have the Hammersmith defend. So he has 3 hit points and 1 defense. For each point of damage dealt by this attack, remove progress. Okay, so there you go. That's how you can remove progress from these quests that you think you're about to clear. Okay, so the Hammersmith is dead. And then the Bowman, with the help of the Ranger and the Jeweler, we take care of that guy. And then, jeez, do I want to kill this Cursed Dead? I have 2 in the discard pile. There's 2 engaged with me. So that means 1 is missing. So it's either in one of those cards in the encounter deck, or it's that shadow card, which I don't get to see until the end of combat. Oh my gosh. So if I reveal a Cursed Dead, I'm pulling 3 of them back if I kill this guy. So I don't think I want to do that. So I guess I'm just going to be upset if that shadow card is a Cursed Dead, because killing this one actually would have been a good idea. All right, let's draw 2 cards of Barivore. I ended up not using her, so I wish I would have used her earlier. See, she wouldn't have got me anything that would have been useful. Anyway, let's do a little healing. And all right, it's the end of combat, end of the round, so I guess I can discard this shadow card now and see what it is. If it's that Cursed Dead, I am going to be bummed, because that means I wasn't revealing any when I go into the next staging step. Son of a gun. Oh well, okay. Okay, after everybody readies and my threat was raised, we are removing the final time counter, and that means we're going to advance to stage 2, which means any unfinished side quests that we had in play get removed from the game. So we never put a progress on Decipher the Ancient Ruins. That's okay. That one's hard to quest against because it's -2 willpower to your allies. So unless you have really powered up heroes or Faramir, it's pretty tricky. Okay, 2A, Thardir's Pursuit. When revealed, add Thardir to the staging area. Each player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for an undead enemy and adds it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck. Oh crap, I forgot that's how this went. I should have just killed that undead, because I could have just grabbed the other one. Alright, well, anyway. No big deal. I mean, obviously I'm pretty much all set for combat. Alright, 2B, 30 progress needed. It gets -5 quest points for each clue we have. And then the stage cannot be defeated while Thardir has any hit points remaining. If we defeat the stage, we win the game. Let's take a look at the big baddie. He's a 1 engagement, 4/6, 4/9, undead, wraith, indestructible, cannot have attachments. Forced, after a treachery card with the sorcerer trait is revealed from the encounter deck, he heals 3 damage and makes an immediate attack against the first player. Folks, that is so easy to forget. It is so easy to forget. Okay, so I need to find enemies. So I'm going to grab a Cursed Dead. I mean, you might as well, because if they're in your discard pile, they're going to come back. So, I mean, I'm in a spot right now where my encounter deck isn't going to reveal any, but if you are in a spot where you could definitely reveal some of these guys and are already in your discard pile, just grab them out of the discard pile. So, okay, that was the end of the round. So now I need to discard cards. I can keep one of them with my Silver Harp. I'm going to keep the Test of Will, discard the other 2, and then I should be dealing out resources and drawing cards. So let's get 4 cards on the elf deck. All right, a Weaver, Protector of Lorien. Ooh, Tale of Tenuvial. That could be fun. And Unexpected Courage. Over on the Dunedain side, hey, there we go. The Guardian of Arnor. All right, a defensive guy. Okay. Okay, lots of options of what I could do here and lots of resources. So let's spend 2 spirit, and I'm going to put Unexpected Courage on Aragorn. I'm also going to give him the Protector of Lorien. So then he can discard cards to defend well. He could quest and discard cards to help him quest. I think he's just a good option right now for both of these attachments. So there we go. Now, I want to try to save a resource for a Test of Will, and then also maybe for Tale of Tenuvial, which lets you exhaust a Noldor or Dunedain and then ready the opposite. And then you get to add the willpower of the character you exhausted to the attack power of the character you readied. Pretty interesting, because you only have to exhaust the character on your side of the table, and you can ready a character on the other. All right, I discarded a card to get a resource on Arwen, so I have 2 resources left. All right, on the Dunedain side, I can do a lot. Ranger Provisions. Attach it to a location. When it's explored, the first player collects resources on each of their heroes, 1 resource each. That's great right now, because I want to get resources on the elf side. All right, Steward of Gondor gives me some resources right back. I'm going to spend those on Faramir, so you exhaust him to give yourself a big willpower boost. I want to try to make 20 progress this round. All right, a discounted Guardian of Arnor. He's coming in for 1, and he'll defend for 1 plus the number of enemies I'm engaged with. That's going to be useful. And then I still have 1 resource on each of my heroes. Nothing else. Okay. Let's go into the quest phase, and I think I'm just really going to try to make 20 progress. I really feel like if I can put 20 progress on this quest stage, I should be able to do the damage to Thardir and win. So I'm going to try to maximize the amount of willpower I can send. It's really to your advantage to try to do all this in the first round. You're at stage 2. Try to get the progress you need and the 9 damage on Thardir, because if you leave him around with some damage on him, he could heal and attack if you reveal sorcery treacheries. So I'm going to really try to do it all. So I'm going to do some math and make sure I have enough attack power. And if I do, I'm not going to worry about the Tail of Tenuvial. I'm just going to send as much willpower as I absolutely can. I discarded a card to the Steed of Meladris, so I cleared that active location. That gives a resource to each of the elf heroes. I'm currently up against 6. I need to make 20 progress. I'm sending 20. Okay, we get Surge. The first player must choose a different quest to be the current quest if able. Okay, well that does nothing. And then that surges into the, the Treachery that gives all the enemies +1 everything. Yeah, we got to cancel that. So we're canceling that. I don't want to deal with that. And that was not a sorcery, thank goodness. And then the final quest card is the Forbidden Descent. So it's going to eat up 2 of my progress, but we only added 2. Okay, so at this moment, we are currently making 12 progress. I need to make 10 more because that location eats 2 of them, and this is where the elf deck can really shine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use one of my spirit resources to pull back an Elven Light. When I pull back the Elven Light, that, of course, is going to also draw me a card. So right now, what I'm trying to do is just get cards into my hand so I can discard them to Protector of Lorien. So there's my Elven Light that I just paid for. And the card it's going to draw me is Galdor. All right, great. And then I have another Elven Light in hand. I'm going to discard all 3 to Protector of Lorien, boosting my willpower by 3. Then I am going to spend another resource, pull Elven Light back into my hand, drawing a card, Dwarven Tomb. I'm going to discard a card to Eowyn, so boosting my willpower by 1. And then the Dunedain side can also discard a card to Eowyn. So let's discard this extra copy of the Heir of Elendil, boosting my card by 1 more. And then my phone rings, and I get all screwed up because that's what I use to record. So I actually travel after placing the progress. And that's when I realize, oh, you dummy, Faramir. I knew I had 1 more step. So then Faramir boosts the elf side, and that's going to put me at 21. So that would have been before I traveled, obviously. So I do have my 20 progress on the quest. Now I just need to get the damage on Thardir, and we will win the game. Okay, engagements. Everybody's coming down. And here's the best part. There's only 1 card left in the encounter deck, so that means only 1 shadow. So the elf deck is going to grab 1 of the Cursed Dead, and then the Dunedain deck will optionally engage Thardir, and then the other Cursed Dead comes down naturally. So this is how it shakes out. The first player gets the first shadow card. So this is going to be pretty easy. I think I'm just going to have the daughter of Nimrodel jump in front of this attack. I was just checking to make sure she's allowed to defend. She can. No shadow. Okay, she's dead. I survived that attack. I just got to survive 3 attacks. Over here on the Dunedain side shouldn't be an issue. Knock on wood. Okay, I just want to make sure I have enough attack power is really the big trick here. So let's have the Guardian of Arnor defend for 4 against Thardir. He's going to take a damage. With no shadows, this is pretty easy. You only shuffle in the discard pile if it's in the quest phase when it runs out. So I'll just have Aragorn defend. He'll take 1 damage. I'll take this one undefended. Who cares? And the Honor Guard can block 1 of the damage, I guess. He would have lived either way. 2 damage going on Halbrad. All right, let's see if I can muster up the attack. Thardir has -1 defense thanks to Aragorn, so I only need to attack for 12. Let's see, Berevor's attacking for 4, Aragorn for 3, Amarthiel for 3, the Arnor guy for 2, Halbrad for 2, the Bowman for 5. I mean, it really wasn't, it wasn't even close, folks. I don't even need the bowman. He could have killed that cursed dead over on the elf side, and then everybody else had enough attack power to take down Thardir. So really try to be able to do this in one round, because it really stinks when he starts healing and attacking and healing and attacking. It can really drag out this final stage. That was a lot of fun. These two decks work really well together. I think if you play these two decks together, you're going to have a great time against any quests. But against this scenario and this cycle, I think you're going to have a lot of fun. So what's next? I am going to do another deck building video, but this time it's going to be a deck using the core, this repackaged cycle, and all 4 starter decks. I don't know what that deck's going to be. I'm going to look at the decks that I could make and try to build one that's different than you've seen. And then I'm going to take that deck up against a quest. I don't know which quest I want to play yet, so maybe in the comments if you're still listening and you want to suggest a quest, I will. Just not Battle of Karn Doom, only because you really need to deck build for that guy. That quest is specific. But any other quests I think would be doable. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye-bye.